My glass journey actually started in Finland when I saw the glass for the first time. I was, I think, with 9 years. It was a material that fascinated me because it was a whole team working together, and everybody was doing a part of it, and they were making some, at Itala, they were making some birds. So that's actually the first time I saw glass, and the whole process of having this material that's completely, I would say, like fluorescence, and you can shape it. That kind of caught me. So that's how I made glass, and that's how I started after to go to find it, because it's there's not many glass studios in Switzerland where I come from, because I live in the mountains and there's not a big connection to like a glass culture or a glass tradition in this way. So it was a big step to find it along the way and find where the industry is located, and then go to Germany to the Glasfachschule Zwiesel to have like education. And from then on, I went further to different countries and studios in Europe and America to figure out the whole process, or like different techniques and possibilities how to do something. I mean, I like to use different type of techniques. I like to have some traditional techniques, some like clean works, but then changing to a different way. So using the whole expertise I collect during my whole traveling, and then translating into my own way of expression in a way. So I was using a lot of this folding glass. I was folding some canes into the glass and in different layers. So you get like a sense of depth. So that's something I like to do, to use the whole space in the glass, not only like one layer of pattern, but like several layers. And this was what I was doing with this type of work here that I have in the studio. It's like you can see like the different type of depth in the glass, actually, that one line is above the other and then under each other. And I think that's what fascinates me a lot, like this possibility to play with the transparency, actually.
You also joined IBG Bulgaria with some pieces from this series, Floating Lines. Could you tell us more about this technique?
Yeah, so this was one of the first work I was doing. It was a very simplified, also layering of like different patterns in the transparency. And I think the inspiration there was more about fumes, or having like this idea of having like fire or fire fumes around the piece. So they're very, very much like moved, very much like almost like disappearing and appearing. And in this newer work, it's a little more like this another piece, for example, it's a little more defined, the lines. So it's maybe a little more controlled over how the pattern will also look. And at the end, they get like this finish, but they get grinded. So you have this playfulness between like a surface that's like matte or like satin surface. And still people sometimes don't know if they ask me, is it like glass? Is it ceramic? Is it stone? So I think it's actually really beautiful to also play with the surface, actually changing the surface to something that almost doesn't look glass anymore.
Indeed. And do you incorporate other materials or mediums in your works? And if so, what is the outcome?
I mean, I try to always find new ideas or new work on new pieces. So in the last period of time, I was working with this. It's like a new series that's like made on it's actually some stone material that work in the glass. So that's actually elaborated in between the transparent and the black glass. And it kind of gives this golden look. So it's kind of inspired by the urushi technique from Japan. They make this amazing baskets or like holders for like some, I would say, some recipients. So they have small boxes, and then they paint like this lacquer on it, and then they put the gold leaf in between, and then remove and put more layers and layers and layers, and then they get this really, really beautiful golden patterns. Actually, it's like this is very much inspired by it because it has this box shape in a way, and it's so it's half black. It's completely closed, as an object actually. So I like to play and experiment with also like what's possible. And this actually started when I was in Penland School of Crafts in North Carolina. They had a river, and there was some of this from the stone, some of this shiny stuff. And then I'm doing some research. I figure out where to find it, where to buy it, and then how to integrate it in the glass actually. So that was actually an interesting process that was from 2017, the first idea, to 2020, 21. It's probably not finished the process, but how long it takes to integrate maybe some different medium or materials into my work. Yeah.
And what is the main source of inspiration for your designs?
The main source inspiration, I think it's curiosity, maybe, to just it's the will to test the borders of the material and how to go further and what to do and how you can change a look, or like just in a way this possibility to go further, or like try to do something that's not there, or it's different in a way. I think that's my main inspiration, to kind of try to break out a little bit from the traditions also. Yeah.
And what is your workplace like?
In my workplace, this is now the studio's place, where we have it's like a photography studio space. Share it. No, it's from my partner. My workplace looks like it's actually a museum. So I was very lucky to get hired in a good position as a gaffer in the new open Holmegård Museum, and it's 1 hour south from Copenhagen. So it's an old factory that was shut down 2008. It has like a history from, don't remember, for 183 years, if I'm not wrong. And there was like the history of like the process of like butter manufacturing, from like apotheke or like medicine butters. And then it was a period, there was a lot of designers. There was this big movement of design and glass in Denmark. And then the industry changed, more went to the east or further to get produced. And now they reopen as a museum mainly for glass, but they also have a big ceramic collection for Kela. Kela is a ceramic producer here. So it's actually a really interesting place, because we always have Danish glass artists coming in, living here close by, or having designers coming. And then we have Bjørn Friborg, he's the leader of the place, and then it's me, and then we have Alex, he's our trainee. So we have a really good team that works together to make this happen. And then we have Christine, she's also a glass designer, but also very specialized in mold making and teaching. So we have a really strong team of glass knowledge and glass possibilities we can do. And it's growing, so that's also very good for, I think, Europe, but also for Denmark in this case, that this is happening.
And what would you say are the main challenges in your practice?
The main challenge is always the glass can give a lot, but it can also take a lot. So it's you have to be very patient and also willing to keep pushing it further, because I think it's a material that requires a lot of attention, precision, a lot of maybe some in strength also like on a long term. So I think it's a really interesting material to work with. It's every day sometimes it's a new challenge coming up, something new happening, something is different. And I think in a way that's also really beautiful because there's always something to learn with or to keep going. And also to create something like so it's a beautiful thought to make something. So it's a challenge in itself, I think. Yeah.
We're currently accepting applications for this year's edition of the Biennale. As a participant in 2019, could you tell us what was your experience and why you joined IBG Bulgaria?
I think I really like the concept of IBG Bulgaria, so the International Glass Biennale there. I really liked seems like there was a lot of good thoughts in the project, a lot of like a good team behind it. I like the concept. It was also easy to apply and very open. And I really liked the idea of also knowing that in Bulgaria there's a glass scene that I didn't know before. So I really liked the exchange in a way. Definitely also something I would like in the future to see if there's the whole situation will change and traveling will be more easy to visit and see what it is actually in Sofia in Bulgaria. What is who is behind the whole team and which kind of artists are presented. I think that's a beautiful thought to exchange with different countries.
Yeah, we also hope that will be possible soon. And lastly, in your opinion, why is it important to introduce the public to contemporary glass art, both generally and in Bulgaria specifically?
I think it's very important to introduce the public to glass art because it's something that is, it's a very specific, it's a small niche. Not so many people know about it. It seems like more people are getting to know it, also with this maybe new Netflix series, Blown Away, or other media, or like a lot of Instagram, YouTube. So seems like a lot of people are getting aware of what's possible with glass, and also maybe new potential glass blowers coming up that see this and are like, whoa, this is really like a crazy thing, and it's super beautiful to work with. So there's I think it's very important to share this craft also. The basis on craft. I mean, you can also not have the craft and do still beautiful work, but I think it's also a lot is based on what kind of craft and what kind of culture to give further to it. And I think all this knowledge about glass, I think it's something that's very important to keep alive because it has so much small details and finesse in some how to do different type of work. So I think it's beautiful to make this available to major aspect of people and have this exchange about it. Yeah.
We're aiming
also
for
internationally,
that too.
but also in Bulgaria, I think. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for this interview. It was a pleasure.